your feet louder. Yeah, you guys are doing awesome. Wave your hands up high. Come on. Find somebody else now and give them a high five. Let's go. Here to spread the love of God to everyone. Gonna get a little crazy, yeah, a little wild. Here we go now.
Come give it a try.
Move it to the left now.
Move it to the left now.
Move it to the right. Move it to the right. Find someone you don't know and give them a high five. Come on, you guys are moving great. Stomp your feet louder. Stomp your feet. Wave your hands up high. Come on, wave them up. Find somebody else now. Give them a high five. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh, Come on, one more time. Move it to the left now. Move it to the right. Find someone you don't know and give them a high five. Oh, stomp your feet louder. Wave your hands up high. Wave your hands up high. Find somebody else now and give them a high five.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Church at Clayton Crossings. You guys were awesome with those dance moves. Get the wiggles out. It's always good to do that. So we miss you guys, but we're back. We're back again. So what we're going to do today is we're going to remember, and this goes for when we're at home as well, we're going to behave, right? That's our one rule that we have here at the Church at Clayton Crossings. We're going to behave, and that works with Mom and Dad too. They'll probably appreciate that very much. So, if anybody else is out there, I can see a few of you guys that are new, that have never came to the Church at Clayton Crossings before and never heard anything about us. We want to give you a special welcome. And around here, we call it a woohoo welcome. So, on the count of three, I want everybody to say, come on, Mr. Jared. I want everybody to say, woohoo for the new folks, right? So let's do it. 1, 2, 3.
Woo! Okay, guys, it's praise and worship time. So everybody stand up and get ready to sing. Luckily, it's the same song that we've been doing for the last few Sundays, so it should sound familiar. I'm going to go over the moves with you just one more time in case Mom and Dad are watching, or maybe you're a newcomer. So you start out like this when you hear the music, and the first words are, you take the pieces of my life, put it back together, and make things right. Oh, 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 you forgive me. Only you can heal my broken heart. Make all things new with a brand new start. Oh, 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 you forgive me. And just remember, anytime you hear the words, you forgive me, that's what it is. Stand up and get ready to sing.
You take all the pieces of my life, put them back together, make it all alright. Oh, you forgive me. Only you can heal my broken heart, make all things new with a brand new start. Oh, you forgive me. You forgive me. I try so hard to do things right, but I make the wrong choice sometimes. And you forgive me. No one knows me, God, like you. You see who I am, not what I do. And you forgive me. You take all the pieces of my and you forgive me. No one knows me, God, like you. You see who I am, not what I do, and you forgive me. You take all the pieces of my life, put them back together, make it all alright. Oh, you forgive me. Only you can heal my broken heart, make all things new with a brand new start. Oh, you forgive me. You take all the pieces of my life, put them back together, make it all alright. Oh, you forgive me. Only you can heal my broken heart, make all things new with a brand new start. Oh, you forgive me. You forgive me. You forgive me.
Hey guys, I heard you singing. That was great. Welcome. Just want to introduce the Curious Thing. We start every week. We get our lesson started with a Curious Thing. And I'm really excited. Hold on. Let me show you this. I got the Curious Thing right under my hat here. Cupcakes. I had 12 cupcakes. Travis!
I'll be right there, buddy. Hey man, what do you need?
What happened to all of the cupcakes that we were saving?
Well, you see, it took so long for you to get here, and I got really hungry, so I mean, it's kind of your fault. Because you made me wait, and I got hungry.
You ate 11 of the 12 cupcakes. 11!
They're mini!
You left me with one mini cupcake.
I probably shouldn't have ate all 11. I'm sorry.
Well, this is not fair. And I am very angry.
Dang. Wow, did you see all that?
Yeah,
Man, I really messed up. What,
you might wanna go take care of that.
yeah, do you
Yeah.
think there's anything I could say to Mr. Jared
Oh yeah.
to
You know what?
get this over with?
Don't worry, Mr. Travis. I've got the perfect lesson today. It's gonna totally tell us how to fix this.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Just as I promised Mr. Travis, I have a perfect lesson today that's going to teach us what we should do about forgiving others. And we all know that forgiveness is such an important part of what Jesus did for us. So how could we not learn to forgive others? And last week, in last week's lesson, we learned about the story of the prodigal son. And that's just a fancy term for saying the son that ran away and came back. And what we learned through that story is that Jesus was really trying to teach people a lesson. And in all of the crowds that always followed him around, he knew that sometimes he had to give them an example. He had to show them a story that really would make people understand the important message he was trying to give them. And he did that through what we call a parable. And in last week's lesson, we learned the parable of the prodigal son. And I'm going to review that a little bit today because that really gets us to the most important part of this story, and that's forgiveness. So we started out our story last week with a big pile of money. And a big pile of money means the prodigal son, or the man's youngest son, went to his dad and said, "Hey, Dad, I know you have a lot of money. I know that it should be my inheritance for when you pass away, but do you think I can go ahead and get it now? Because I really have some things that I'd like to do and they just can't wait." And so the dad, unfortunately agreed to that request. And the son, you know what? What would you do if you had a big pile of money? I know what I would do if I had a big pile of money, and that's called I'd have a party. And just like me, that prodigal son ran away to a foreign country and had a great time. He spent his money on anything that he thought of. He wanted to have an Xbox, he bought an Xbox. He wanted a donkey, he had a donkey. He pretty much said, I have the money, I'm going to do whatever I want. Now, what happens when you go out and you spend your money like that is you lose your money like that. And there's only so much money to go around, and once it's gone, it's gone. So just like we learned, he ended up losing all of his money and ended up going to the pig farm. Now, I don't know about you, but that would probably be one of the last places that I would want to work. I don't think it would smell too good. I don't think it would be all that good of a job. But when you're desperate, you do what you got to do. And we also learned from last week, even though the cupcakes that they use as an example for eating like a pig weren't exactly what he meant when he said, I want to eat the pig's food. Because most of the time, when you feed pigs, you kind of take your leftover dinner, and I'm sure you leave probably a lot of dinner on your plates, even though you shouldn't. Maybe those vegetables you don't want, or maybe somebody burned something and it wasn't too tasty, and you just kind of took your plate and you dumped it in the trash. Well, that's exactly what this son said that he wanted to eat at this point because he was so hungry and he had nothing else. So that's the desperation that he felt when he lost all of his money and he went to go live on the pig farm. So if I was him, I probably would be feeling a little bit like this. I would be sad and I would be so upset that I had done the wrong thing. I had wasted all of the money and then I had nothing left but the food that was in the pig trough. So he decided, you know what? I don't have any other choice. I have to go home. And so he returned home and was willing to do anything he could to beg his dad to let him come back. And surprisingly, the amazing part of this story is when he came back to his dad's place after being gone all of this time, his dad didn't meet him with anger or with yelling or with punishment. He met him with a smile and he met him with happiness because the dad was so happy that his son had returned home. And that's really how Jesus feels for us when we come home and when we recognize that we're lost and that we don't have anything left, is that we turn to him for everything that we need. Now, here's where today's part of the story comes in, because there's somebody else in this story that we don't often talk about, but is a really important part to the forgiveness lesson in this story. And that's the story of the young son's older brother. Now, while the young son was out having the time of his life and having parties and spending all the money that he could, the older son was out in the field. And he was probably plowing and he was working hard and he was doing everything that he was supposed to do. He was being responsible. He was getting all of his chores done. He was listening to his dad. So he was doing what all good sons and children should do. So when his younger brother came back after being so irresponsible and wasting his father's inheritance, but he came back to a party, the older brother, he wasn't happy. He's like, no, wait a minute. How is this true, Dad, that I've done everything right? I've done everything that you've asked me to do, and yet when my younger brother comes back, you throw him a party. You kill the fattened calf and you do everything. Well, we have some scripture that tells us a little bit more about that. And this week's reading comes from the book of Luke. And we are in Luke chapter 15, verse 28. The older brother became angry and he refused to go in to his brother's party. So basically, he was outside in the field pouting. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered to his father, look, all these years I've been slaving for you and I never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never even gave me a young goat so that I could celebrate with my friends. Apparently back then, goats were kind of like the main party feature. I would personally go with a bounce house nowadays, but we're going with a goat. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property and comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. So, to be honest, this story took a long time for me to kind of understand too. I wasn't really sure why the young son got the party and why he was rewarded for not doing the right thing at first and for coming home. And why the older son had a really good point. Why is it that I've always been here, I've done everything I was supposed to do, but yet no one has celebrated me? And that kind of took me a while to realize that, until I read the last part of this scripture and what his father told him, the reasoning for him being so excited that his younger brother came home. His father said, "My son," the father said, "you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost, and now he's found." And there's an awesome song lyric that I love to compare to this story. And it said that God would leave the 99 just to come and find the one person that was lost. And that's truly how he feels about all of us. For one person that is lost, that breaks his heart. There could be 99 of us that are right there that love him and know the right things to do, and that always makes him happy. His kingdom is already ours if we're doing that, but it's the people that are lost that we truly need to seek out and we need to find. So now this story never really tells us the ending, whether or not the older brother decided to forgive his younger brother, whether he decided to go into that party and really participate and believe what his father believed, that it was an awesome thing that his brother was back. But it's a really important lesson for us to understand. Just like Mr. Jared and Mr. Travis, what would they miss out on if their friendship was ruined over 11 cupcakes? What would happen if for some reason they couldn't get over their argument and Mr. Jared just decided to stay mad? We always have to think about the things that we'd be missing out on when we don't forgive other people. It's so important for us in our hearts to keep our hearts light and happy to forgive other people. But it's also so important for those people that do wrong for us that they learn forgiveness through us. Because if we have Jesus in our hearts and we understand the amazing, amazing gift he gave us by forgiving us, then there's absolutely no reason why we can't learn to do that for other people. So I hope you guys think about that today. You guys are probably in close quarters with your brothers and your sisters, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of things that are going to get on our nerves while we're all crammed into the house together. But this is the most important time to begin practicing forgiveness, because we know that ultimately it's our job to live like Jesus did, and if we can do it, if he can do it, we can do it too.
Well, I can't believe you'd eat all my cupcakes. I mean, we saved them together, but I gotta finish this wall, guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna put these letters up. Huh. You are forgiven. Man, You know, I bet if God could just say one thing to each of us, that's probably what he'd say. You are forgiven. Well, hey, Mr. Travis,
Hey, man.
could I talk to you about earlier?
Yeah, I'm really sorry about those. I shouldn't have ate all of them. We saved them together. I got so hungry.
I know. I'm sorry for getting so angry and being upset that you ate all the cupcakes. And I mean, thank you for saving me. One, I appreciate that. I shouldn't have gotten so angry. And you know, I listened to Miss Camille, and I don't know what else to say, but I forgive you.
Awesome. Man,
I don't want something like that to come between us being friends. I don't want to lose our friendship over getting angry about some cupcakes.
man, I feel the same exact way. Thank you so much for forgiving me. Friends?
Friends.